Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're going to talk about motherhood and why the stress that comes with it just feels different. It's not just about being busy. We're going to dive into some of the psychological patterns that can really lead to burnout. And more importantly, we're going to look at a practical framework for building resilience and finding your balance again. And really, this question gets right to the heart of it all. The stress of being a mother isn't just a scheduling problem, too much to do, not enough sleep. It's a completely different kind of weight, a unique pressure that's this wild mix of societal expectations, our biology, and the emotional blueprints we've inherited. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a really powerful contrast. On the left, you see this tendency for women's stress response to turn inward. We worry, we withdraw, we sacrifice ourselves. And on the right, you see a more external response, something often seen in men, taking action, sometimes even aggression. And it's that tendency to internalize, to just absorb all that pressure, that really kicks off the cycle of exhaustion. And that is exactly where this pattern takes you. All of that constant giving, that relentless self-sacrifice, without ever recharging, it leads to what this slide calls the complete drainage of your internal batteries. And listen, this isn't just being tired. This is a deep, soul-level kind of exhaustion that leaves you feeling completely and totally overwhelmed. So how does this draining actually happen? Well, it's not by accident. It's usually fueled by three really common inner traps. These are powerful thought patterns that, honestly, we can fall into without even realizing what's happening. And here are the big three culprits. You've got perfectionism, that constant need to be the flawless mother and partner. Then there's over-responsibility, the belief that you, and only you, have to solve everybody's problems. And finally, worrying, that nonstop looping soundtrack of what-if scenarios playing in your head. Let's break each one down. First up, perfectionism. It sounds like a good thing, right? Like ambition. But what the research actually shows is that it's way less about having high standards and way more about needing to be in control. It's basically a defense mechanism, and it's driven by this deep fear of not being good enough. And that pressure to be ideal, wow, that is an absolutely impossible weight to carry. All right, next up, we have over-responsibility. This is that heavy feeling that if you don't carry the entire world on your shoulders, the whole thing is just going to fall apart. It's that voice in your head that convinces you that everyone else's happiness and well-being rests entirely on you, which is, let's be honest, an incredibly draining and isolating way to live. And finally, there's worrying. It all starts with that one little question, doesn't it? What if? And from there, boom, you're off to the races, triggering an endless spiral of catastrophic thoughts. It's like you're living in a constant state of anticipating the worst. And the research on this is so clear. This pattern, more than almost anything else, is what fuels a persistent state of anxiety. Okay, so how do we get out of these traps and actually recharge our batteries? Well, the answer isn't to just try harder or be more positive. No way. It's about building a whole new foundation from the ground up, based on these 4 pillars of psychological resilience. I want you to think of this as a roadmap back to yourself. It's a direct antidote to those traps we just talked about. See how it starts with the body, releasing that physical tension. Then we move to the mind, breaking those cycles of worry and perfectionism. After that, we learn to regulate our emotions, and then finally, we get to the absolute core of it, reconnecting with our true selves. This first pillar is absolutely fundamental. Why? Because stress isn't just in your head, it's a physical thing. It lives in the tension in your neck, the tightness in your chest, that knot in your stomach. You literally cannot think your way to being calm if your body is on high alert. You have to physically release it. You got to shake it out, breathe it out, move it out. The second pillar is all about tackling those mental traps head on. It's about learning to spot that inner critic, the voice of perfectionism and worry. And the real power move here, the game changer, is this shift in your language and your perspective. Moving away from the heavy pressure of I must and I should, and stepping into the empowerment of I choose or I decide. All right, pillar 3 completely reframes how we think about our emotions. I mean, so often we feel guilty for feeling angry or frustrated, right? But what if those emotions aren't actually the problem? The whole idea here is that these difficult emotions are really just signals pointing you toward an unmet need. Maybe a need for rest, for help, for understanding. The key is to listen to the signal, not just try to shut off the alarm. And the fourth pillar, this one brings it all home. It is all about rebuilding the relationship you have with yourself. In motherhood, just being busy can become a strategy to avoid our own uncomfortable feelings. But you can't outrun yourself forever.
Constantly ignoring your body's signals, that's not strength. It is a direct path to burnout.
Okay, so this is all great, but how do we actually put these pillars into practice every day? Let's look at a really powerful tool for understanding that conversation that's always happening inside our heads. It comes from a psychological model that basically says we have different voices inside of us, all vying for attention.
So, inside each of us, there's this constant negotiation going on between three voices. You've got the critical parent, the one who's always issuing commands and judgments. Then you've got the emotional child, expressing raw feelings like fear or joy or just plain exhaustion. And then there's the adult, the calm, rational observer who sees the facts and finds a balanced solution. Our goal is to strengthen that adult voice. And this is what that adult voice sounds like when you put it to work. Look how it acknowledges the child's feeling. I see that I'm tired. It challenges the parent's command. I don't have to clean now. And it makes a conscious, powerful decision based on a bigger value. I choose to rest, so I have energy for my kids. See, this is how you shift from just reacting to making intentional choices.
So, where do you even begin this journey? Well, real, lasting change always starts with awareness. So let's close out with 3 really powerful questions pulled from the research to help you start that reflection right now.
First, I want you to just take a moment and be really honest with yourself here. In the last week, how many times did you say yes when your entire body was screaming no? How often did you push through total exhaustion just because you felt like you had to? Just noticing it, that's the first step.
Okay, now I want you to picture your total energy for the day as a pie chart. What does that split look like? Is it 50-50? Or is it more like 90% is going out to everybody else, leaving just the crumbs for you? Remember, this isn't about being selfish. This is about being sustainable. You simply cannot pour from an empty cup. It's impossible. And finally, let's bring it right back here to this moment, right now. I want you to check in with your body. Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders hiked up by your ears? What is one small thing you could do right now to feel just a little bit safer and calmer in your own skin? Maybe a deep breath, a quick stretch? And this really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. You are not a mind that is just driving a body around like a car. You are your body. It's not some machine to be pushed to its absolute limit. It is your greatest ally, and it is always sending you signals. The entire journey back to balance, it just begins with the simple act of learning how to listen.